Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Resourceful Living Homestead. We are going to do week number 28 with Survival Seeds 2025 collaboration with VC Family Homestead, Bushcraft Family, and Lazy Days Ahead. Well, I'm going to take a look at this volunteer squash plant first. It hasn't been doing anything. It's continuing to grow. It's just so big over here. Hasn't been any squash on it, which is weird. My squash that I planted in the garden at the beginning of the season didn't do anything. And then this volunteer thing come out here, which is crazy how big it is, but nothing is coming on it. So there's another bloom down there with something on it, more blooms, and then that one, but nothing. Weird, very weird. And I know my watermelons had kept binding and stuff, but I'm not even going to worry about that. See, I got a little watermelon right there, but I imagine something will eat it before it gets too big. And these vines are just dying off anyway, so not expecting anything. So when I don't get anything, that'll be good. But look at my sage over here that I know I need to harvest, but is that typical for those flowers? I've never seen sage flowers, but I'm going to say that's probably where the seeds might come from. But anyway, I probably need to harvest some sage, and I will get to it eventually. I got to get all that mint out of there and get that burned. Got to harvest my lavender over there. Still got to harvest this lemon balm. Let me go into the big garden, see what's going on. Sweet potatoes are still looking really good. Sweet potatoes are still massive. This week, I want to harvest sweet potato leaves to dry out and turn into a powder. They're really good when you sprinkle them on pies or on any kind of desserts, or even ice cream or something like that. So they have a really good sweet taste to them. So I'm going to do some stuff with the leaves. And sweet potatoes, they're just not ready to be harvested yet. So I'm not in any hurry. I kind of skipped the greenhouse, but in the big garden, I did a bunch of harvesting a couple of days ago. I harvested a bunch of green tomatoes. There are some bell peppers still on the vine, the Cow Wonder bell peppers. So I'm going to continue to let those go. They're not getting very big very fast, and they're kind of wilty. They're still getting water, but it's just been kind of hot. So I think we're toward the end on the bell pepper. Got bell pepper over here. I did get out here and do some cleaning up in the garden. I did do that. I cleaned out 3 of these beds of the tomato plants. They were still going. They still had tons of green tomatoes on them. But I just made the call to go ahead and pull those. Get that sweet potato over there. I don't want it to go outside the fence. I went ahead and pulled them because I'm just ready to start winding down on the garden. I've still got green tomatoes coming on, so I'm going to keep harvesting green tomatoes. I just want them to get a little bigger. Bell pepper. I'm not seeing any more bell peppers on this one. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer just because of time, basically. But A couple more tomato plants over here I need to get out of there. Got all this bed cleaned out. This bed had a lot of Romas in it. I mean, the Romas were huge. But I think because of the weight of them, they were leaned over and they weren't getting enough sunlight and stuff like that. So I just went ahead and pulled them and harvested those green tomatoes. But the Romas, those Romas from Survival Seeds, I am completely impressed with how big they get. So those Roma tomatoes and those Cow Wonder bell peppers, those are absolutely two things I hope that the BC Family Homestead girls will choose for next year, because they were absolutely my number one as far as growing. Bell peppers and tomatoes, those are staples for the things that I like to can. I mean, we can spaghetti sauce, pasta sauces, rotel tomatoes, salsas, and with all the green tomatoes, we're going to do green salsa and green tomato relish. And that video will be coming at the end of the Survival Seeds collaboration. I harvested a bunch of my zinnias. These have taken on some weird disease or something, so I didn't harvest any more of those. I didn't want to incorporate those in with my good ones that I dried out. So probably I gotta check and see if those will overwinter, if they'll come back next year. I'm just not sure. I got a lot of potatoes coming back up in here. I have not planted any more potatoes in here. These are little potatoes that I left from last year to come back up. This one too. I harvested the potatoes, the golds, the Yukon golds out of this one. I left a few of the little ones, so you can see there are some little ones coming back up in there. There's all my wheelbarrow full of all the tomatoes that I pulled out of those beds over there. And I'm going to skip back around to this other side of the tomatoes that I have not gotten to these. These get more full sun, so I wanted to leave these, but the basil is just out of hand over here. But as you can tell, I've still got green tomatoes that are coming on that are good size. Bell peppers, I'm just completely impressed with those Cow Wonder bell peppers. This has been my best year for bell peppers. Look at this. Right there, 3 of them still on there. And this one's just it fell over because it's so heavy. But bell peppers are still going over here. Still got red tomatoes coming on. If I leave them long enough, they'll turn red. There's a red one down there in the bottom, if you can see that. But lots of tomatoes still. I'm going to wait probably a day or two and then come out and harvest these red ones. I'm not going to harvest any more green ones just yet, because what I will process first are going to be the red tomatoes for pasta sauce. I've decided that's going to be the first I do. The green tomatoes will be the last that I process, because I want to get everything out of the garden that I plan to grow. I see a bell pepper down here that's pretty good size. I better go ahead and pull that so I don't miss it. Check out that bell pepper. I practically pulled the whole plant. Check out that bell pepper. Cow Wonder bell pepper. So completely impressed. These Cow Wonder bell peppers have done amazing for me. Unlike any other bell peppers that I've ever grown. And the Roma tomatoes. I've tried some different Roma tomatoes and nothing like these that the BC girl sent. Nothing like it. Still got tomatoes coming in over here. Got a red one in there. So they are still turning red, just very slow. Look at that beautiful green one. And then here, the oregano's still doing good. I think oregano will overwinter, so I'm going to leave that. This bed, we got some more of our habaneros. More of our, let me check out these chili peppers. Check out those chili peppers. Good grief. Lots of chili peppers still coming on. Back here are our ghost peppers. And then, of course, we've got our jalapeno peppers. They're just massive. This year has been a great year for our hot pepper. I've got 3 gallons of hot peppers in there. And we'll do, Brian wants to make some jalapeno salt. And he wants to make some habanero salt. Look at these. They're not the mammoth, but we have just gotten so many hot peppers. Here's a different kind of hot pepper down here. Here's another one that's got a couple of them on there. They're just all over. So I'll harvest all these peppers later on. Here's some more. These are banana peppers. And I put banana peppers in my pasta sauce. And I normally make a chunky spaghetti sauce. I like a chunky spaghetti sauce, and I'll probably do both, but Brian says he'd like to have some more of a smooth spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce. So I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna please him and please myself too. But let's check out the garden. I mean the greenhouse. Oh my God, what in the world? I have not started cleaning this out yet. I did a few weeks ago, cleaned out a little bit, but it's so overwhelming. And it's just steadily growing in here. I just don't know what I should, if I should just let it go and see if we don't get more budding and more tomatoes throughout the winter. Or if I want to clean it out and get it prepped and ready for the fall. I just haven't decided, but I've got all these, I don't know what these bugs are flying around. What are those? They're everywhere in here. Good grief. But anyway, there's not much turning red. We've still got Romas coming on that are green, but very few in the greenhouse. But the vines are just, they keep growing. They keep spreading. Keep growing, keep spreading. I got basil that's just out of control in here. But for this to be mid-October, there's just so much growth in here. And it just keeps growing. Anyway, I'm going to have to clean this out. I don't think it's producing enough. I mean, we've got budding here, and I'm going to try to leave some of it just to see if it will overwinter and produce. But I need to clean it out because I like to be prepped and ready for the fall. Because when I come out here to start in all my starters in my greenhouse and out here on these shelves and stuff, I want it to be cleaned and clear and ready to go. So, do have still some more of these sun sugars coming on. I harvested a few of those, a handful of them. But for the most part, there's not a lot of tomatoes coming on. See, there's another one right there. Not a lot of tomatoes coming on. It just keeps growing and growing and growing, the vines, but not producing anything that's worth keeping all this. But I did come out here a few days ago, maybe closer to a week, and I planted some in this bed, half of this bed. I planted some Yukon Gold potatoes for winter, and over here I planted some more sweet potatoes, but I don't know if the sprinkler system, I guess I probably need to check the sprinkler system tonight. But I did plant some sweet potatoes out here. Those look like they've died. This one's still going. This one's still going. So anyway, I planted sweet potatoes and Yukon Gold potatoes out here. So that is going to wrap up the video. I mean, of this jungle in here. This is just crazy, guys. This is just crazy for it to be mid-October and have all that growth in there. Anyway, sweet potatoes. Still gonna harvest a bunch of sweet potatoes. Looking forward to that. This sun sugar, I may have to eat it. Those are the best cherry tomatoes. If you're looking for a cherry tomato, sun sugar, it is the absolute bomb. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up our week 20. What did I say? Week 28 or 27 of Survival Seeds 2025 collaboration with BC Family Homestead, Bushcraft Family, and Lazy Days Ahead. And we will see you guys next week.